We are officially 1 week away from enjoying the warm tropical sun on our skin and a soft breeze of dollar bills from unexpected baking soda dealers. But the big question is, for those who like to do stuff on their own and will attempt the heist by themselves, how would this look like? What about the payout? Let's discuss. After you subscribe to my channel for more Cayo Perico content starting on December 15th, you can expect heist guides and much more, so subscribe today! Taking the casino heist as an example once again, we know that the prep missions will likely be very solo friendly. Hell, this time around we probably won't have to source for a 2-player scenario because the heist is doable solo. So you won't have to go to the LMOC twice in a row for some explosives while getting lasered by unlimited spawn buzzards. Good times. The primary question is obviously going to be the finale, the difficulty, and of course the payout. Now, historically speaking, the finales of the casino heist have always really been doable solo, really. The only part in a casino heist where you would really need a teammate for is unlocking the double door when you enter and access the vault. Other than that, in all honesty, this heist would have been doable completely solo. If you think about it, Big Con especially, it's just walk in, walk out, and that's it. The other heist had a lot more things in there that really just required actual team play, like in the prison break, having to distract the jet, and in the third Doomsday finale where one of the players has to hack into the system. Even that was already a 2-player heist. In terms of difficulty, it's pretty hard to say, primarily because not everyone has the same skill level. I've been playing since day one, so I kinda know what I'm doing. Sure, Big Con is a walk in, walk out type of deal, but if you're new to the game, for some reason you still find it a really interesting idea to just shoot your gun around as soon as you get in, which, you know, is never a good idea. And not even that, you would probably run through the main door inside of aggressive and you might find yourself a bit more of a fight than you're really ready for. The ways you could make stuff more difficult is either by the amount of enemies, the toughness of the enemies, or the amount of time that you have. Let's say for example in aggressive where you have a minute less to steal all the stuff. Personally, I like the idea of a solo heist because with the right strategies, I personally feel you could probably walk away with more money than you would to do it with other players because you don't have to split the cash. Also, if you have a teammate, you know, sometimes a teammate has to wait for an enemy and you slow down. So in a money per hour type of perspective, you might end up making more money, but this is just purely speculations from my part. So for that reason, we should pull up some stats from the casino heist and try to kind of figure out what we can expect. Now, taking data from a 2-player Big Con Gold run where we managed to take everything home, I have some interesting data to share. In a 2-player scenario, well, both players will get 50%, you will get $1,068,810. But if you were able to do it the same way as I did by grabbing 4 cards for a total take of $1.4 million, and then you convert all the percentages and the cuts and everything like that, you would end up with a profit of $1,066,298. And for those that are paying attention, yes, that is only a difference of $2,512. Now, before you start getting your hopes up and buying cakes and celebrating about the Cayo Perico heist and the millions that you can make, there are a few very noteworthy things that I should mention. First of all, like Lester says, I've done this 1,000 times and, well, there is of course some RNG involved in these cards too. Meaning that in the example run that I'm showing off now, the cards were in a perfect position basically to have a full take made possible. There's a few other scenarios within the casino heist where it is possible to take a full take, but they are not very common and most of the time you'd typically have to leave at least 1 card if you are playing with 2 players. Assuming Rockstar will take the casino heist approach, as solo players you won't always have this luck of the perfect layout in terms of cards. But obviously with the right strategies there would be a way around this. For example, you would start in the middle instead of on the side and potentially you would be able to walk away with a bit more cash than I personally did. Because of course if you're a solo player, strategies typically really very much change in terms of how you should approach stuff. But of course, time will tell. My personal hopes are that Rockstar will reward those who are experienced with a new heist and don't try to implement slowdowns and punishments for those who are wanting to just play on their own. Like they are doing with, for example, the contact missions and that sort of stuff. Somehow forcing the play with 2 players or more from either a difficulty or a payout point of view will be a great shame. However, judging by the average heist player, I don't think we have to worry too much. Because of the amount of players that will be able to complete this heist solo, compared to the vast majority who are still stuck on Prison Break, it makes me think that we'll be likely fine. Historically speaking, and if you have ever played a randoms heist, then you would know what I mean. The vast majority of people that are even playing casino heists somehow, someway have not figured out yet that security passes level 2 are essentially a necessity, and that you have to hack every single door. That's not really a lot of fun. So for that reason, I think that small percentage of players that will actually be able to complete this heist solo and do it effectively will be very low compared to the amount of players that are still trying to figure out how to turn on their controller. As from a mission design point of view, personally I am also a little bit afraid that they will feel a little bit too much like contact missions rather than a heist. Reason being is that heists have always been this co-op experience where you have to play with other players, thus forcing the co-op element like the double doors in the casino heist, the Vault Impact standard, and the Bogdan approach of having 2 players in 2 different positions at the same time, and then magically the host disconnects at the end of it because for some reason that's still a thing. As much as I like the idea of a solo heist, it does make you wonder how they will approach stuff like this. Maybe they will implement ways so people who do the heist solo won't be able to access a certain vault or a certain location where the bigger stacks of loot are hidden. It would make sense to me that there are at least 2 different kinds of experiences, as a solo heister will be able to sneak away easier, but obviously will lose out on the co-op aspects and thus security locations that will have stuff hidden behind it. And with the new information we got, literally the same day as I originally recorded this, I'm personally hoping that the secondary objectives will just be a one-time thing. Because if you have to do 24 secondary objectives every single time as a solo player, it will likely end up being more of a chore than it will be worth it. But judging from the approach that they took with the casino heist, I'm personally under the assumption that they will take the same approach as scoping out the casino. In the casino heist there were 11 access points and 10 points of interest, which makes for a total of 21 secondary objectives. There was a base amount that you needed to do and the rest was optional. If you had done all of them, the mission will be marked as completed. This time around there seems to be a total of 46 secondary or maybe not so secondary objectives, and if you were to have to do all of them every single time, then the heist will most likely just become unfun. To me, it would make total sense if you only have to source the escape routes and the points of interest like only one time, for example. Having to do like 24 secondary targets every single time, or sourcing them or their locations for them at least, doesn't really make a lot of sense for me. My primary question definitely is about the 24 secondary targets though, as there seems to be a payout linked to it and it can go in 2 different ways. Either you source it once, find out where the locations are, and then just grab them during the heist. Or you will have to source them every single time that you do a heist. If it were to happen that the last option is going to be the case, I still wouldn't worry too much, because if there isn't too much RNG involved and the secondary targets will also have a set location, then I'm sure we'll figure out the best ways and routes to go about them, and perhaps even leave a few behind if that were to be a waste of time. And I'm just gonna leave the speculation at that, as because it's 3 days away from the DLC. And yeah, I'm sorry, but I'm just really looking forward to it, and this type of stuff just excites me and just really makes me wonder how everything is going to work. That's probably the main thing that I'm personally looking forward to, figuring out the heist, developing strategies and that sort of stuff. But of course, if I do find out, I'm going to share that with you as well, so make sure to subscribe to the channel for heist guides and strategies and all the good stuff coming to you starting on December 15th. And again, give me a follow on Twitch if you want to see it live unfolding in front of your very eyes. But with all that said and with all that done, that was it for this one. Thank you all so very much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed and consider becoming a member if you really like what you see. And I'll see you all later.